Hi, I'm Realtor Scott Tompkins, and welcome to Real Estate Unboxed, fresh tips for home buyers. Today's topic, how to write a kick-ass offer. At this point in the home buying process, we've been out looking at homes, and you found the one you want. Now it's time to write the offer. Here are my top tips for crafting a purchase and sale agreement the sellers will love. Determining the right price and terms to make your offer as attractive as possible can be challenging. I'll always check with the listing agent first to see if there are other offers. If there are multiple offers, you may want to be more aggressive with your offer if you want to get the house. Believe it or not, most sellers are proud of their homes. Since you've just seen the home, take a few minutes and write down the top 3 things you love about the house, and I'll include that in my offer email to the listing agent. Most sellers want to get more money or spend less on repairs, closing cost assistance, and things like home warranties. Offering a higher purchase price puts more dollars in the seller's pocket. To get an idea of how much a higher offer will increase your monthly principal and interest payment, you can use an online calculator or just ask your loan officer. For example, at a 7% interest rate, adding $5,000 to your offer only increases your monthly payment by about $35. I'll ask the listing agent if the seller would prefer the fastest possible closing date or maybe a longer escrow. If the seller's desired date works for you, try to honor it. Our purchase and sale agreement contains many contingencies or safeguards that protect your earnest money. I can make a specific recommendation based on the purchase price you have in mind, but as a rule of thumb, 1 to 2% of the purchase price is a good ballpark. If you want to go for that wow factor with the sellers, you can go higher on your earnest money. Everyone has heard stories of buyers losing out to cash buyers, and that does happen, but here in Thurston County, cash buyers usually amount to under 20% of closed transactions. Most of us don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, so don't stress about this. The great majority of us will need home financing to buy a home. If your finances allow, a higher down payment will typically telegraph to the sellers that you're a strong buyer, which may give them peace of mind. If you put enough down, you may also qualify for an appraisal waiver. Ask your lender about this. Any seller concessions you request means less money in the seller's pockets. So if you don't need closing cost assistance, you may not want to ask for this. Home warranties can protect you when things break, but to keep your offer clean, you may want to pay for this yourself instead of asking the sellers to do so. Escalation clauses are a valuable tool to prevent you from overspending. Instead of going big and offering more than you need to, you can tell a seller that you're willing to beat another offer by a certain amount up to the maximum price you're comfortable with. For example, let's say you're interested in a home that's listed for $500,000. You might indicate that you'll beat the next best competing offer by $2,000 up to a maximum of $520,000. If there's a better offer, yours will adjust up, but only enough to beat the other offer and go no higher than your max of $520. I like these because they protect you from guessing too high and making an unnecessarily aggressive offer. And don't worry, the sellers will have to prove that there actually was another bona fide offer if they trigger your escalation clause. Especially if there are multiple offers, buyers may bid up the price of a home. The higher the price, the greater the chance the home won't appraise for the full contract price. A simple but effective tool that you can use is to offer to cover some or all of the difference between the appraised value and the purchase price. This gives the sellers peace of mind that they won't have to cover all of that appraisal shortfall, and an offer of a few $1,000s here can make a huge difference. Once you and the sellers agree on the offer terms, our contract provides you the opportunity to conduct the inspections that are important to you and defaults to 10 days to do this. At a minimum, you should have a home inspection, and if the home is connected to city sewer, I always recommend a sewer scope inspection. Make sure you watch that video. These are items that we should be able to complete in more like 5 days. 5 days doesn't sound like a lot, but remember that if the home inspector recommends further evaluation by a specialist, you'll have additional time to perform more inspections. Under no circumstances should you waive inspections. It is your right to do so, but I will counsel you in writing not to do this. A home is a major purchase, and you'll want to know the condition of the home before repairs become your responsibility. A better option, especially if there are other offers, is to commit to a pass-fail inspection, which will let the sellers know that you don't intend to ask for repairs. This will allow you to do whatever inspections you want, and if the home needs more work than you're comfortable with, you can still cancel and get your earnest money back. I hope this was helpful information, and you may want to rewatch this video. Jot down some of the tools that you find appealing so that you'll have a more clear picture of how you want me to write your offer. Buying a home is a big step, but these tips will give you a much better chance of having your offer accepted. And remember, I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Happy house hunting.